Good afternoon, and welcome to the DFS YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are here to take a look at pitching for today, the 21st of July. We are down to a 12-game main slate this evening. As you can see, the Pittsburgh and New York game has been postponed. We have another game, Baltimore and Boston, that has some major weather concerns as well. So when all said and done, we could be down to 11 games. This is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you play in FanDuel, cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. There's not as many, let me backpedal. There are options. There's not as many strong options this evening. We are going to have to make some decisions. Obviously, the goal here is to try to trim down this pitcher pool to get us to a number where we can spend the next couple hours trying to break down before we ultimately finalize a pitcher pool, in the 8 to 10 range. I think last night I ended up playing 12 pitchers. I don't really love it. It was a good night for me on a return basis, but I was definitely uncomfortable with the pitching pool that I put together. My first look at this, I kind of feel the same way about tonight, only we don't have the multiple 10K plus guys that we want to have exposure to. Obviously, the 10K plus guys last night did not perform overly well. Mizorowski left a little bit early due to just being uncomfortable. There was some velo drop as the innings went on. He had dropped about 7 miles an hour from inning 1 to inning 4 on his four-seamer. So there just were some things going on there. I don't think it was a planned, 4-inning start. I just think that they were being a little bit more safe once that drop happened. And he did say that he wasn't feeling comfortable. So that kind of cost us, but Kirby was the top guy last night, who I kind of thought was the one that probably should be the number one guy as the afternoon progressed, as I wrote in my notes for the members of DFS Army. But let's jump in. We have some colder weather spots. I shouldn't say colder, cooler than they have been for the first half of July. We have some places with some wind blowing in as well. Wrigley. It was blowing straight out last night. Well, it's blowing straight in tonight. Complete change in the forecast in Chicago. Tampa Bay, Toronto, probably the best pitching matchup on the slate, I think. Let me look before I say too much, but yeah, Gausman and Drew Rasmussen. Gausman, super up and down. He's at his best when at home, which is where he's at this evening. He has struggled in 2 starts against Tampa Bay this season, averaging 6.9 DK points per game in those starts. I think being at home is probably going to help him. The overall problem, though, is Tampa Bay doesn't strike out a whole lot. Cease was all right in the strikeout category last night, but he has much more strikeout upside at this point than Gausman. Gausman is averaging more than a strikeout per inning on the season. So it is there. I think based on the pitching options that we do have, I think Gausman has to be in our pitcher pool. But he's somebody I don't want to be overly invested in. On the other side, Drew Rasmussen, his last 2 starts have been pretty bad. Now, he hasn't pitched in 12 days, so it's given him some time off. He did pitch in the All-Star game, I guess, so he did technically pitch. But last 2 have not been good, but he's been really good for most of the season so far. His overall numbers are stronger when pitching on the road, and that's even with only getting 2 wins in his 9 road starts. A couple of decent starts against Toronto this season. Nothing super special, I don't think. 12 points, that means you put up 20.5 in one of them. But 3 runs allowed in each of his 2 starts. Strikeouts have been solid. even though Toronto doesn't strike out all that much either. I just think like we're playing both of these guys just based on tonight's slate. Baltimore, Boston, the weather, obviously the big question. Ranger Suarez was moved to tomorrow, so they're going with Eduardo Rivera, not somebody I'm interested in. Even though I like left-handed pitching against Baltimore, I just don't think it's going to work this evening. Kyle Bradish on the other side definitely has big-time upside, but he's volatile, struggled against Boston the first time. His fantasy points per game are better on the road as his strikeouts jump up, but he allows so many more base runners. If this game's said to play clean, I'd sprinkle some Bradish in, but Boston has won 14 straight, so I don't really know if they're an offense that I want to force a pitcher against right now. San Diego, Atlanta, Walker Buehler heading to face Atlanta. 3 straight starts of negative fantasy points after a pretty solid stretch. I'll be honest, Atlanta's one of my favorite offenses tonight. He's been atrocious on the road with San Diego this season, even though his K numbers are stronger. I just have zero interest in Walker Buehler. On the other side, Reynaldo Lopez. I'm still debating on what to do with Reynaldo. His last start wasn't very good. First 2 starts in July were pretty solid. Just 1 run allowed in each of those 2. He's getting lengthened out. He's up to 85 pitches. Probably could see a stretch to 90. Pretty strong ground ball rate last time out, too. I'm really debating it. He has been best at home, which is where he's at this evening. That's always key for us. Average against him of just 194 at home, that's pretty strong. So the more I think about it, the more I might want to make sure I get exposure to Reynaldo Lopez this evening. Next game, Tyler Mahle and Avila. I don't think I'm getting to either pitcher. I think the weather in Kansas City is better for pitching than it has been recently. But I just don't know if I'm getting there. Now, Mahle does face a Kansas City squad where the lineup just came out and Bobby Witt is taking the night off after leaving the last 2 games early. He's just been really bad on the road. I don't think I can get there. If you wanted to gamble with him, I guess I wouldn't blame you. I played Luis Avila a few times. He's been pretty bad at home. A little bit in the reverse splits from a power standpoint, I believe. So that's what makes me believe that maybe he could surprise tonight against San Francisco. But I'm just not going to do it. I'm just going to pass on pitching in that game. Mets Brewers, you get Brandon Sproat taking on his former team. Last couple appearances hasn't been strong. Just 3 innings last time out, 83 pitches. He racks up pitch count early and often. 106 pitches to get 5 1/3, 92 pitches to get 4 innings. He's just kind of all over the place, but I think there's upside. He's kind of been a reverse splits guy as well, especially power numbers. And I think that probably plays pretty decently against the Mets, as we should expect them to be, fairly split down the middle. Just interesting to see what the Mets do with their outfield, with Luis Robert coming back and the way that Ewing and Benj were playing. So I'm going to sprinkle in some Brandon Sproat. His overall home numbers are pretty bad, though. Zach Thornton might be somebody I need to consider a little bit. I'll be honest, I wasn't really considering him. I do like left-handed pitching against the Brewers. He's going to be around 80 pitches. He did go 7 innings, 82 pitches last time out against Boston, who has been, such a strong team. Start before that in the major leagues, he went strong against Philadelphia, 7 Ks in 6 innings. So I think I might have to not overlook Zach Thornton right now and consider him this evening. Don't really love the 8K price tag on a guy that I can't trust a ton, but given what our options are on this slate, I guess I'm going to find myself on the Zach Thornton train and hope that that doesn't destroy me. There's a lot of questionable plays, to be honest. So, White Sox and the Rangers. No Schultz. Somebody I'm going to debate using just because he's left-handed. I think that's the best way to attack Texas right now. He's been pretty bad on the road from a runs allowed standpoint. His underlying numbers aren't that bad on the road, so there's probably some positive regression coming from the runs allowed in ERA standpoint, which is important for DFS purposes. I think right now he's just more of a sprinkle in, but he might be somebody that I remove from the pool too if I want to go with Kumar Rocker on the other side. Rocker's last 2 starts have been pretty bad. He does have, mid-20s upside so far this season, or I guess low 20s. Oh, he did put up 31 in Coors, so that's a strong start, but he struggled at home as well. Don't really like the guys that struggle at home, but the reason I'm considering him is because the White Sox could be without Colson Montgomery, who left last night's game early, and that does weaken the power of the lineup a little bit, but I think I'm just going to end up with maybe one pitcher from this game. It's just a matter of deciding which one I want to roll with. I think Schultz has more ability, probably a slightly better matchup. Detroit, Chicago, wind blowing in Wrigley. Both pitchers are going to be valuable. I prefer Framber Valdez for the upside. He's coming off a great start. He's had 227, basically 28 plus fantasy point starts in his last 4. He's super volatile. Walks could creep up, strikeouts could drop, etc. He's kind of all over the place, but given the weather and everything, I like the upside of Framber Valdez. On the other side, David Peterson's drawing a ton of ownership from what I see. I'm kind of afraid to be overly invested in David Peterson. Now, obviously, he gets to pitch in the strong pitching weather, so he's somebody I'm going to use, but as of right now, I'm planning to be underweight on David Peterson. Tetsuya Imai, the last couple starts haven't been strong. That's after an elite start against Detroit. His numbers at home are far weaker. They're pretty bad. And I don't really think I want to pick on Miami. I think they kind of get to him, if I'm being honest. And Tyler Phillips, not somebody I'm interested in on this slate. Jordan's probably going to crush. Coors, Mikolas, Lorenzen, no thank you. 2 guys that get absolutely smashed this season in Coors. Could see some runs, or based on how the season goes, we probably see a 1-0 ball game. The Angels and St. Louis. Walbert Urena, somebody I am considering, but probably will not get there. I just don't know that he's somebody I want to rely on against St. Louis at this point. Liberatore, on the other side, somebody I'm going to get to. Coming off of a strong start. It's been pretty strong in 2 out of his last 3 starts. We know the Angels strike out a ton, the most in baseball. So why not go with Liberatore? I was big on Kyle Leahy last night, and it worked out, minus the fact that Riley O'Brien cost him the W. The A's and D-backs. So Cole Drake has had some pretty bad minor league numbers this season. ERA nearing 7. I think he's probably better than what that's shown. Obviously, pitching in Reno is a very offensive ballpark, etc., and league. But I don't think I want to get to Cole Drake. Even though I don't mind left-handed pitching against the A's right now, I just don't think I'm going to rely on Cole Drake on this slate. Jack Perkins on the other side. I don't think I'm getting there. He's looked kind of rough the last handful. We have used him a couple times, unfortunately, but giving up some home runs, I just don't think it's a great spot, even though I'm not as high as on Arizona as it seems like some other people might be this evening. Last game of the slate, Cincinnati and Seattle. You get Chase Burns, the best pitcher. First start since signing his big extension. 13 days off. Might be some rust. His last start, we saw him walk 6, and that's rough. The walks are the thing that worries me. We need to see those strikeouts come back. There is strikeout upside in this matchup. There's some danger. Like, he can give up some home runs, etc. I don't think he's thrown a clean game against Seattle, but he has the highest ceiling on the slate. Other side, Luis Castillo. Cincinnati strikes out plenty, but Luis Castillo is not a big K guy. 4 strikeouts in 5 straight starts. No more than 6 since his first start of the season. He's a guy that I'm probably going to sprinkle in, but he's drawing a bunch of projected ownership as of right now. So, like David Peterson, I plan to be underweight on Luis Castillo. Wow. But there we have it. There's our first look at the pitching options on the slate. If you enjoyed what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell, and get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., there is a link in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off any MLB package, or Best Ball 2026 gets you 20% off any NFL or VIP Core 4 membership. The Core 4 does include baseball. Best of luck, everybody.